Another interesting article here by Alan McLeod at Mint Press News. I'll link it down below for your reading and viewing pleasure. So it dives into the hypocrisy of the teachers union, at least those at the top, those in leadership positions, who were rightly criticizing Donald Trump's rush to reopen schools when there wasn't a safe and effective way to do that that would both protect the health of the teachers, support staff, etc., and the kids. And so they're criticizing Trump, again, correctly for that, and now they're lauding Biden for doing that same thing. Hypocrites much. Teachers union berated Trump for reopening schools. Now it's praising Biden for doing the same. And again, this is the people at the top of the union. Show article, after discussing this one about how the Chicago Teachers Union overwhelmingly voted to remain remote, even while the city was pushing them to get back in the classroom, even though all the teachers and support staff have not even received their vaccinations yet. Same teachers organization that roundly condemned Donald Trump's attempts to prematurely open schools are now applauding Biden's decision to do the same, even as the coronavirus pandemic reaches new levels. Joe Biden has made the reopening of schools, colleges, and unis a key priority. On his first full day in office, he signed an executive order, quote, to support the safe reopening and continued operation of schools, child care providers, Head Start programs, and institutions of higher ed, hoping to achieve a near full opening within 100 days. That ain't gonna fucking happen. Are you shitting me? How slow this rollout for vaccinations has been, the lack of supply, the lack of coordination. The cases are still skyrocketing. We've passed, 400,000 deaths from the COVID-19 virus in the United States. He wants to achieve a near full reopening with 100 days. That is not going to happen. The order states that the 78-year-old former Delaware senator considered it his duty to ensure that students receive a high-quality ed during the coronavirus. You know what would really benefit students and their families, Joe Biden, if you actually followed through on your promise to get everybody $2,000 checks, you fucking corporatist, warmongering, Wall Street loving piece of dog shit. The country's largest labor union, the National Education Association, NEA, came out in strong support of the move. President Biden's plan provides great reason for sorely needed optimism, said the org's new president, Becky Pringle, heir to the Pringles fortune. I don't know. I'm just making that part up. Educators are encouraged not only by President Biden's leadership. I mean, okay, he's taken it a little more seriously, but he's still not addressing people's great economic and material needs right now, is he? He's talking a good talk, but his actions demonstrate otherwise. That he actually gives a shit for the working class, for the teachers, for those students, for their families. Educators are encouraged not only by President Biden's leadership, also knowing there is finally a true partner in the White House who will prioritize students by working with educators in the decision-making process, she added in an official statement. Okay, and how he's not obviously prioritizing listening to the teachers in Chicago who voted against, the city and the mayor and the leadership there voted against going back to the classroom and instead voted overwhelmingly to stay remote until they can at least all get vaccinated. I mean, Jesus Christ. The NEA, of course they do, has a close relationship with the Democratic Party. Over 97% of NEA political donations the last 2 years went to Democrats, the organization endorsing Joe Biden for president, calling for Trump's immediate removal from office earlier this month, while putting out official statements mourning the death of liberal icons like RBG. Indeed, Garcia, I don't know who that is, right, Biden's first pick as Secretary of Education. It's quite a U-turn from the union, which boasts a membership of nearly 2.3 million educators nationwide. Again, and I think you actually poll the rank and file teachers and not Becky Pringle and the, corrupt corporate leadership of the NEA, who's obviously, as we see from this, completely beholden to the Democratic Party. If you actually poll the teachers, I think they would say, no, this is fucking stupid. At least let us all, at the very least, get vaccinated before we go back. I mean, goddamn. April, as President Trump was attempting to do the same thing, the NEA offered blistering opposition. Trump's call to reopen school buildings is dangerous for students and staff, it wrote, condemning the president's attempts to sacrifice teachers for the sake of reopening the economy. How's that? Literally the same thing going on right now. Very, very small fraction of the U.S. population, including teachers, has been vaccinated at this point. Similarly, in September, the org was categorically against Trump's renewed push to reopen. No one should listen to Trump or his education secretary DeVos, claimed then NEA leader Lily Escalon Garcia, accusing him of creating more panic for stressed families and politicizing the reopening schools by linking it with the November election. Yet Biden has made clear his decision was made out of the same save the economy. Like, save the fucking economy? You really save the economy? Joe Biden, you want to save the economy? You give money to people to stay home. You give money to people to stay on the payrolls at their jobs. You give everybody $2K stimulus check, predate it till the pandemic starts, keep it going till it's over. You want to save the economy? Do that, you fucking shitbird. When schools are open again, and again, cancel student loan debt, cancel medical debt, advocate for universal health care. Biden doing any of that? Fuck no, of course he's not. That's the reason they propped him up. When schools are open again, think of all the people who can get back to work, he said as he signed the order. All the mothers and single fathers that are staying home. Again, that's not the fucking... It's not the problem that people are having to stay home. It's that the government is not helping them out when they are forced to stay home. Give people money. They can stay home. We'll be able to tackle the virus in a manageable way. We won't continue to see cases spiking. Not get over this fucking ridiculous save the economy shit. The people need saving, not the amorphous economy, you fucking shitbird. Jesus Christ. While we may know more about the virus now than last year, it seems clear that the pandemic is actually far more out of control now than previously. In late April, the U.S. was averaging 30,248 new cases per day and 2,010 deaths per day per World Meters data. In September, those numbers were 35,934 daily cases and 757 deaths. Today, however, the country can expect to see 193,758 new cases, around 3,176 new deaths. Quite a bit worse now if we use those metrics, and the NEA was rightly criticizing it when those numbers were much lower, but now they support it. Quite a bit of hypocrisy there, would you not say? I would, as I have been, obviously. In fact, the 10 deadliest coronavirus days have all occurred in the past 4 weeks. Jesus. A new WAPO ABC News poll found that the majority of Americans consider the pandemic to be completely out of control, because it is. I mean, Biden's decision also comes at a time when comparable nations are quickly moving in the opposite direction. Authorities in the UK, Germany, Ireland, Austria, Denmark, Netherlands have all announced the closure of schools despite lower rates of contagion than in the U.S. in some cases. The problem is that schools are unsafe for children, said British PM Boris Johnson, who made the decision to close them for 3 months despite previously being adamant against the idea in principle. The problem is schools may nonetheless act as a vector for transmission, causing the virus to spread between households. European studies have shown that although highly unlikely to be gravely affected by the virus themselves, children are likely to contract and pass it to adults. Yes, exactly. So the kids might get it. They might be asymptomatic. They might be all well and good, after being positive for it, but they can give it to their mom, give it to their dad. Maybe they're living with an older aunt or uncle or grandparents. And those older folks, those people with compromised immune systems, are a lot less likely to have positive outcomes than the kids. Um, let's see. British teachers are twice as likely to contract. Yes, and then we obviously need to worry about the teachers, the support staff who would be coming in contact with these kids once they go back in school. COVID cases among American educators are also rising. While there are reasons to support reopening, particularly the psychological toll the isolation takes on children, the loss of valuable teaching time, other nations see the virus as a greater danger. The union's decision to support reopening even as the pandemic hits new heights might suggest to some the leadership is putting its loyalties towards the party before its membership and giving Democrats a free pass. I don't know how you could come to any other conclusion than that when the NEA, National Education Association, was so vehemently opposed to Trump wanting to reopen schools when there was a lot less cases and a lot less daily deaths happening, when, as this article points out, the last 4 weeks have seen the highest rates of coronavirus deaths so far. So it definitely seems like this teacher union, at least the higher ups, are definitely putting the Democratic Party above the best interest of both the kids and their members, and that's disgusting and should be called out. Like the video if you like the damn video. If not, that's cool too. Subscribe for more content. All power to the people. Peace. Much love.